Hello Doraemons, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, as planned and informed in the last video, you might have excited for the Java solution. So most people have been asking for this Java, and I've been posting videos on Python. So now it's time to jump on to Java and help you guys with a little pattern which we already have for Python. And I'm glad to hear so many people have cleared IRA by my techniques and my by videos. I'm so happy to hear it. And if you're not following my channel, please subscribe and you watch all my videos. I have given all the type of questions which can be asked in the IRA, so you can, if you practice those things, you can definitely clear IRA. So let's get into the Java video. And I have got the question which is asked on 14th February, and this is the 14th February question. So we have been asked like a market management program in which they'll be giving same like Python. Here also we have an object structure, and they have given some simple instructions on how many functions you have to create and how it should go. As like the same pattern like Python, here also we'll be having two different classes and one main class, and inside that main class we'll be having two functions. So that is going to be the pattern. And let's learn about what we have to do in Java other than Python. So very similar to this, we have this market ID and object. This thing is similar. Only the thing is different over here is you will not be parsed with the number of inputs in some of the questions in Java, whereas in Python each and every question has the number of items that is going to be parsed. But whereas here it will not be given, and it should be, it will be like basic thing which will be mentioned in the question, like it will be 3 or 4 like that, and you have to go according to it. So let's get started with it. So let's try to understand the input and output first. If you're following my videos, you might have known, if you, I will say you'll never read the question only except for some important details which is mentioned. So first let's look into the input and let's see what we have to get in the output. So first we have has shown over here, we will have in market ID, an item name and a category and the price, and status like available or not, like it's true or false. Let's see. So we have the market ID over here, and this is the market ID, and this is the name of the item, and this is going to be the category, and next is going to be the price and the status, whether it is true or not. So this is one set of object, and let's check whether the other sets are there, which is ID, name, category, price and availability, which is status, and again 333 with, and the item name and the category and the price and the availability. And like that we have 4 set of data, and in 4 set of data we have 5 set of inputs to get. So first we have to declare like an object class, and we have to pass these into them. So that is the first part which you are going to do. Let me erase this real quick and we'll move on to the next part. So as many of you know, if you're writing questions in Java, so just ignoring this main function, this is the basic syntax which you'll have in Java, and we are not going to do these things and all. So let me just delete it. As of now, this public class main is going to be our class main, and let's first create the object class. So to do that, we are going to create a class, and I'm going to name it as object, and for this one we can just name it as market, because this is a market program. And inside this we are going to define each of these inputs, which is int item market ID, which I mention as IID, and for rows it is item name and it is of type string. So we are going to put string and the name, and then after this we are going to get the category. So for that also it's type of string, and I'm just going to put cat, And then we have the price. Price is of type integer, so we are going to put int price. And then after that we have the status, so it is either true or false, so it is of type boolean, so I'm just putting boolean, and I'm going to put it as st, which is status. So after doing that, we have to declare a function inside it. So I'm going to just put over here, so here in this place we are going to mention anything like int or string or public or something. We are going to just put the class name as the function name, and what we are going to do over here is we are going to pass these entire thing as a parameter over inside it. So I'm just going to copy and paste it. So copy pasting it will give you, like, it will be crisp and clear, and it will not give you any errors. So you can have this as a practice. And yeah, I'm just going to remove the semicolons and the extra spaces. Let me do it real quick. Oops. Right, and after this, yes, we are almost completed. And yeah, so after this I'm going to open a function, and in Python we'll be giving it like this self dot this thing, self dot that thing. And here what we are going to do is we are going to just put this dot mid is equal to mid, and no, don't miss the semicolon. And again, this dot name is equal to name, semicolon, and this dot cat is equal to cat. And again, this dot price equals price, and this dot status is equal to status. So this is our object class, and after declaring this we don't have to disturb anything over here. So let's move on to the top side, which is the main class. So this is going to be our main class, and inside this main class only we'll be defining two more functions. And let's first pass these inputs. Let's get the inputs here and pass it over to this object, and just we'll try to iterate them first. So first we have to declare an array. So as like in Python, we are going to again declare an array over here. So the pattern which we usually follow is like we'll mention the array type int, and then we'll mention those brackets and the array name, and then we'll put a new int and again the size of an array. So here we are not going to do it in the same manner. What we are going to do here is, instead of putting the type of an array, here we are going to put it as the class name, like market, and here I'm going to put those brackets, and I'm going to name this array as yum. And after this, here I'm going to put new market, and yeah, and here I'm going to just define it as 4, because we have only 4 set of objects over here. And then as usual we are going to declare the scanner, and then we are going to get the inputs. So let's start with the scanner class. So here I'm going to put scanner s is equal to new scanner. Make sure the capital yes, and we have something more in Python to be like maintained, because Python is a syntax oriented language, and yeah, it's a structure oriented language. And here we're going to just put for int I is equal to 0 and I less than 4 and I plus plus. And again we are going to just loop through it, and here also we have to declare the variables and get their inputs. So first is int of yumid. You can use the same variable name, and here I'm going to put yes dot next int. So we usually use this next int to get the inputs for an integer, but what happens in this type of questions is your next input is given in the next line. So this int will not give you, like, it will not jump to the next line, so we have to make it to go to the next line. So if you just give next int and if you pass this input, it would give you an error, because it will not go to the next line and then it gets the input for the same line. So to avoid it, here in the end we have to put it like next line, and then it jumps to the next line, so that the series of inputs is in a right format and that you will not get any errors in your structure, object structure. So we are going to do the same, and I'm going to just declare string name is equal to yes dot next line. As it is of type string, we can get it using next line itself, and again in the end semicolon, and the category, so string cat is equal to s dot next line. Yeah, and after this we are going to get the price, so which is of type integer, and again price. So here we'll put yes dot next int, and also in the end we have to put like yes dot next line. So both should be put in. So I know you understood the process now. And for the status, I'm going to just put yes dot next bool, and then in the end we also have to get the next line, so it moves to the next line and starts with the integer. So yes dot next line, and yes, so now we are done with the input part, and now we have to just append it to the object. So this is what we are going to do now. So in this place we are just going to put get, and we are just going to pass only the variable names, so which is yum id, and then the name, and then the category, and then the price, and lastly a status, and with a semicolon come to the front. Usually how we add an array is m of I, so we know that the name of this object array is yum, so yum of I is equal to new of market, and we have passed all these inputs, and now this part is done. So your object declaration and the structure part is done. Now we have to just iterate through the function, that is what's going to happen. So this part of the question, what we have to do in this particular question is, you have to, like, you will get a 4 set of data, like a set like 1 1 1 2 2 2 3 3 3 and 4. In the end they will give you one category name, and there is 2 set of outputs, which is for the first one you should find, iterate through the list, and you have to find the market materials which is of category vegetables, and you have to sum their totals. Like for vegetables, their prices, one is 20 and one is 50, and another one is 70. So for total you'll get 140 as a total, so that is printed as the first output. And the second part is, you have to get a list of all these market materials which is of category vegetable, and you have to print the third smallest category, like the third smallest price with their market ID. So here the 20, 50 on 70 is the third minimum value, so that we only have 3 over here. So in some cases you may get like 4 or 5, so in that cases, so you should be like getting only the third minimum category which has the third minimum price. So that is here. So for this set of things, you can see that 222 is the market ID of the item, which is 70. So that is how the question works. You can go through this question. I'll be linking this question down below in my blog post, so you can have a read on these things and understand. It will be pretty easy, so I don't want you to waste time on reading it and giving you an idea, so I just give you a rough idea of how it should be handled. And if this given category is not available, then we have to print like no such item is available and no such item has the minimum value, like that. It should be handled vice versa. So that's it for this object part, and you now got an idea of how to solve this question. So now let's get into creating two more functions and going through the things. Okay, so we will be declaring those two functions inside this main class, but not in this main function. So first thing we have to do is come out of this main function, leave only one curly braces in the end, and we are going to create another function like public static int market value, like that. I'm going to create a function called market value, and here we have to pass two things. Yeah, here I forgot to add one more thing, which is after getting all these things you have to get one category for which we are going to hydrate to the list. So let's declare that it is of type string, and we can name it as type, and I'm going to get it like yes dot next line. Yes, and now let's get into this part. So after declaring it, here we have to pass two things, which is the object list and also this type. So here we'll not be passing like int market or like that. What we are going to do here is we are going to pass this part, market and the brackets and m. So this is what we are going to pass. Just follow the exact same pattern which I'm doing, so it will be easy for you guys and you will not forget this. Okay, so now I'm going to just put here string type and just open the braces, and inside this we can loop and iterate through the things, and we are going to call this function from the main function. So below this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the total from this market value function. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to declare an amount, like a total amount, amt, and here I'm going to just call this function market value of yum comma type. So when you're calling it, you can just put the object name of the array, and you can just put the name of that variable, but while you're passing into the function it should be like given in this pattern, market yum and string type. I hope it is clear till now. If you have any doubts, this is first time that I'm doing this thing. I gone through a lot of research and found a good way of doing it, and if you have any doubts, please put it in the comments so that I can answer you guys. So now I'm going to just loop for int I equals 0, I plus I is less than 4, and then I plus plus, and just loop it. So here how we compare in this part is m of I dot here we are going to get the category. So m dot I dot cat equals and we have to ignore case. So you people might have known about ignore case. We have to do all the string matching in case insensitive. So it should be done like this. If m dot I dot cat is dot equals ignore case of type, if it matches the string, then it should add that sum. So here in this place I'm going to declare a variable called t, and I'm assigning like integer t, and I'm going to assign it to 0, and here I'm just going to add it t plus equal to m of I dot price, and that's it. So now you will have the total amount of price. So after looping and everything, this in Java a function should always return a value. So if you are calculating some total or taking some numbers out, you can return that to an variable like this, which I did now. Or else if you want to check something else, and if you wanted to print it over there itself, just put a line like return 1 right here. So this And now before the last bracket of this function, just put return the total, which is t. And here we have to again like check whether this amount, like if it is greater than 0, then we should print like this, only the amount. If not, we have to print like no such item is available, which is also given as another case. It should print no item available with the given category. So let's check it here itself once it returns the amount. So if amount is greater than 0, then it should print system.out.println, and here we should give like no item available with given categories. I'm just going to copy paste this thing. You better have this practice of copy pasting over here, but HackerRank will not allow copy pasting, so better be aware of how to just write it without any like case insensitivity, because if insensitivity happens, it will even throw in an error. So even for an E and U, you will get an error. So else it should print like system.out.println. It should print only the total, which is t. Oops, sorry. If it is less than, or if it is equal to 0, then it should print like this, or else if it is greater than 0, then it should print like only the t. So that is the first part of the output, and let's move on to the second part. The second part over here is what we are going to do is like we'll get a category, we have to get the items of that category, and then we have to sort their prices in ascending order, and we have to print the market ID and the third minimum price. Among those category, which item has the third minimum price, that market ID and price should be printed. So this is a little bit tricky to understand, and I have seen like how to sort in dictionary, or if you want to get any dictionary and do it in the sense, and I found one of the easiest way to do it. So what you can do is you can get only the items prices which is of category vegetables. So here it is given as vegetables. So we are going to get the prices only of vegetables, and we are going to sort it in ascending order, because sorting an array is a bit more easier than sorting an hash map of dictionary in Java. So we are going to sort it in an array, and then we are going to get the third minimum value, and we are going to compare that third minimum price with E by iterating through this object, and we are going to find which market ID has that third minimum price, and then we can easily print the item ID and the price. So this is what the strategy that I'm going to follow. If you want, you can even follow this strategy, or if you're well versed and you know how to handle with an hash map or an dictionary, you can go with that part. So it is totally up to you, and this is my one of the ways to solve it, and it is the most easiest way that I can suggest you guys. So if you are new to it, you can better go with my way. I'm also going to go with my way. So here again I'm going to declare like a function, and I'm going to just name it as public static int. What we'll name it, maybe max. And here also again I'm going to put the same, like market, and here yum, and after this I'm going to put string and type. And inside this, so before getting to it, let's run and see whether this works. So I'm just going to pass the inputs. Let me just copy paste it real quick. This is Control V, and I'm going to run it. I don't know whether how it's gonna pop some errors, so let's see. So it says I have made 3 errors. Let's correct them real quick. The first error is here for boolean, and I've put in here string, so it should be of type boolean. And I'm showing these errors because like most people think like I don't even get errors. I do get errors, and it is all everything on how you fix it. And here in place of amount, so this is outside those function where t is declared. Inside this function only the t will be valuable, and here t is not declared. Instead of amount I just given it as t. So these are the two errors which it popped. Now I'm going to run it again and let's see. Yeah, somewhere, yeah, here I didn't put, so this is what it should return something. So in this cases you can just put return 1, and I'm going to run it again. Let's see whether we are getting, yeah, so I have got this total price 140, and we have completed one part of the output. So let's work on the second part of output, where we have to get the third minimum price value for the given category. So let's go into it. So here what I'm going to do is I'm going to create an array, and then I'm going to store only the prices to it. So let's create an array. So it is of type int, and I'm going to give it as array, and again here new int, and I'm just going to give it 4. We are going to only get 4. It has only 4 objects, so the maximum amount of values you may get is going to be 4. And I'm going to loop again for int I is equal to 0 and I less than 4 and I plus plus, and here I'm going to just pass a r of I is equal to yum dot I dot price. As I told, I'm going to only pass the price, and after this this array arr will be having only the prices. So now we are going to sort it using array dot sort. So outside this for I'm going to just put array dot sort, and here I'm just going to put arr, and we'll just try to print the whole array. System dot out dot print ln. So if you guys don't know about array dot sort, you can google it. It is a simple like an inbuilt function to sort your array. Now I'm just going to print this array and let's see how it goes, and ran again. Yeah, so just don't remove the return one. Yes, okay. Now I'm going to run it again. So now I got this 140, and this array is not, yeah, I didn't call this array yet, so we have to call it below this after printing it. Here I'm going to just call it int k, and I'm going to just call max of yum comma type, and let's see. Yeah, it's displaying something because it has a whole lot of value. Let's iterate and see. So as you all know, like if we arrange it, like if there are 4 values and if we arrange it, we'll get the third minimum value in array of 2. So that's what I'm going to exactly do it over here. I'm going to just print array of 2 and check whether 70 is getting reflected. So let's check that real quick. Yeah, so it's reflecting 70, which is the third minimum value. So we'll be having only three values over here, because yeah, it will have 4 values actually, because we didn't take only the category vegetable, so we have to add that also. So if yum of I dot, we are going to again run the same thing, equals ignore case, and here we are going to put type, and if this is true, then it should assign the price. So before doing this we'll be having 4 values, and after doing this we'll be having only 3 values. Like as you can see, there is only 3 market items. which is of type vegetables. So as you can see, there is only 1, 2 and 3. So it will take only 3 prices, and if you sort it, you will get that in a of 2, because array starts with a 0, so 0 holds the first minimum and 1 holds the second minimum, and the array of 2 holds the third minimum price. So now what we are going to do is, again we are going to iterate through the object list and find the ID, market ID, which has the price 70. So this is one way of doing it, because it doesn't have a lot of complications. If you're new to Java, then this would be a more feasible way for you. So if you are a bit experienced in Java and you love writing programs in Java, then this might feel very simple for you. If you have any idea of hash map or sorting dictionary, or if you have any other solutions to do this, please comment it down. I'll pin that comment so that others also get to know. Let's do that part right now, and don't just remove that return one. So again we are going to loop it for int I equals 0 and I less than 4 and I plus plus. We'll do it real quick, and here we're going to iterate through the list. So if m of I dot price is equal to the array of 2, then it should print system dot out dot println. It should print the id m of I dot mid, and also it should print, so here we'll use plus, and to go to the next line I'm using /n, and again plus. Here I'm going to put the price dot price. And in this case also we have to compare like whether like it got some amount got displayed, or it should print like no such item. So if there is no such item, there is no possibility of this be getting printed. So what I'm going to do over here is I'm going to declare a variable, something like a boolean. So I'm just going to put a boolean of y is equal to false, and I'm going to just put it as false. And here when it prints this line, if it prints there is some value and of that category, and the third minimum value can be fetched, maybe if it will be given in that manner maybe. So if it didn't get to this array of 2, then it will not give like an exact thing. So here what we can put is, we can put array of -1, whether it is last one, but it will not work in cases of it has four items are available of same category. So for the third one I've just chosen this array of 2. This works if it at least contains 3 items, and I think the question will not be asked for the less than 3 items. So in the question itself it is mentioned like you have to print the third minimum item, so there won't be any cases like they will give the object list which doesn't have 3 categories at least. As you can see find available item with third minimum price in the solution class. So there won't be any possibilities of getting the category which is less than, like in the object you will not get items less than 3 which is in the given mentioned category. So this would perfectly work fine for all the test cases which is included in this question. So in this place if it gets printed, I'm just going to make that y to true, and yeah, so and here itself I'm going to just put the condition part. So as we are only returning 1, we cannot return 2 things to the same thing, so it's a little bit difficult. If you know, just put it in the comments, I'll pin it out. So I'm just going to, here itself I'm going to check if y is equal to, if y, then this will already get printed. This, if it has a third minimum value, this will get printed, and if it is false, then we are going to put it like no such item is available, same thing like that. And here I'm just going to put system dot out dot print ln, and inside this double quotes I'm going to just put what is given over here. No such item is available. I'm just going to copy paste it. Yes, and the question is completed almost. So let's run and check whether it is printing 140 and 222 and 70 first. So for the first test case we are going to run it, and yes, so it has printed 50. Let's check what happened. So basically what happened in this part is, just look close into this max function and what you have done here. So for I equal to 0 and I less than 4 and I plus plus, we have given like array of I, which is I is equal to m of I dot price. So for I is equal to 0, it will be going through 111 rows and flour, where this flour is not equal to vegetables, so it didn't enter this part. And for the next one, where I becomes 1, this vegetable matches to it, as if we have given like I is I, and here the value becomes 1 when it comes to the second part. So a of array has the second minimum value. So now what, instead of doing it, what we can do is we can declare one more variable as j, and here we can just put int of j is equal to 0, and when it increments, like when it adds something, we can just increment j over here. So if we do like this, then this array of 2 will work fine. So now let's run it and check whether, so it is giving 333. Yeah, so it's again the same thing. So guys, what happened with this question is, we have 4 total objects in this question. So if we declare an array of in like 4 places, what happens over here is, the fourth place is all either, like if we put even j, the first 3 places are getting occupied by the prices of the category item, and the fourth place is getting 0. And with that, if we sort, what is happening over there is the 0 is coming first, and so the a of 3 is having the value of 70. So what can be done in this part is, you can make these two functions into a same function and add in little variable to count how many number of categories are getting added to the total. And here you can create an array with this u variable instead of putting 4. And as we are given different variable names, this will not pop you an error, and in this place you should just, we can just remove this part and we can just make this into a single function. So that's how it works. So now what I've made over this part is, I have in this upper part I've made this market value as one function, and I've declared like int amount is equal to market value of yum comma type, and inside this itself I have written the first part, which is to calculate the total, and here itself I'm comparing the value whether it is greater than 0 or not and printing accordingly. After that I'm declaring a boolean variable y, and then an j to iterate over the array, and I'm creating the array using u. So by this we can ignore that 0 part, and rest all the things are same like as I did. And here the same part, arrays dot sort of array, and here I'm just going to iterate through the thing and print the same thing. So for that we got the perfect output of 140, 222 and 70. So now I'm going to again try with another set of input which I have already, and let's check how that works. So now I'm going to take the second set of input, which is over here, and I'm just copy pasting it real quick. So I purposefully wanted to show this to you guys, because if in case you enter these kind of errors in the exam, it would be very tough for you to understand these things. So I just purposefully made this thing, and it maybe look like I'm not running it properly. So that's fine. Now let's run and see whether it prints. Yeah, no item available with a given category. That is going fine, and no such item is available should also be getting printed. And one more thing to remember over here, guys. So when we give here u plus is equal to 1, this applies for cases when the given category is available in the list of objects. So if not, when we create this u will not be added and it will be becoming 0, and when we create an array with 0, it will give you an error. So what can be done in this case is, you can just put a like a loop. If if u is greater than 0, then only perform all these operations. If not, directly we can just print like no such item is available. So this boolean will not be required over here in this place. So what I'm going to do over here is, instead here itself I'm going to remove this part. So I've just given a condition to it. So if u is greater than 0, then only create an array and then perform all necessary options. If not, I've just given an else and print no such item is available. And we can also ignore this y variable where we create it as boolean and true and false. So I purposefully made this video like this. Why? Because we can have an initial idea on this thing to understand it, and after that like if following that thing, you may encounter like array situations like this, because index out of bound is more exceptional cases are available in Java. In order to handle with those things, I have made this video like this, and the next videos will be a lot more clear, as this is the very first video and I have to make sure like you people understand the structure which is need to be followed and how this problem needs to be solved to pass all the test cases properly. So I thought solving this question would give you a lot more knowledge on these things, on how to sort it and then compare it, like those things. If given for two things, even you may encounter with the same question in IRA, and that time this code would be really helpful for you. Please try it out, and this question will also be available in my blog post. You can check the link down in the description and practice this question as much as possible. So this is the primary structure you should be followed. You should be creating a main class, and inside the main class one or two functions, which is up to you. You can create two functions and do the same. So in the starting I have showed you two functions, so that is the basic structure used to be followed, and after that while correcting it I've made it into one because of this index out of one situation. And this is the object structure which needs to be followed. So please focus on the object class and the main class, and then according to your instructions on how you get the question, you can like change the function, those kind of things, according to your question or according to your approach. So this is about the 14th of February IRA question. So how you felt about the question? I saw different type of solutions to it, but I felt this one to be easy and simple, and it will be easy for you guys to understand. So I have like shown all of the errors which popped out, so that you can get an idea on how it should be solved and what kind of error pops out and what is the problem right there. So if you people are new to Java, these kind of errors are quite unpredictable, so I showed those errors too. So this video will be really helpful. If it was helpful and you like the video, please considering liking this video, and it will be more motivating for me to do such videos. And which one you liked, like if you want me to copy paste the code, or if you want me to do the live coding. I've done live coding for Java for the first time. Which way you prefer, please also comment that down, and what you felt about this question and about my solution. If you have any better solution, please comment that one also down, and I'll be pinning that whichever solution is the best, I'll be pinning those comments out. So yeah, most people have been requesting, and your request is finally solved. I've uploaded a video for Java, and you can practice over the things, and hereafter you'll be getting videos on Python, Java and Unix. So yeah, let me know what should I do next. Like most people have been asking for personalized doubts, and some people while executing they get errors. So if you have any problem while writing or while solving the problems, please if you want to reach out, you can reach out to me in my Telegram handles, which is also in the description box. You can join my group, and over there you can solve all your queries and whatever doubts you get in while solving. And all the best for your ERAs. I think this video will be going out on Monday, and today you'll be writing your ERAs. So all the best for your ERAs and perform well. And that's it, Doraemons. I'll be back in the next video. Until then, keep learning and keep rocking. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.